Hey, it's Jason from Worship Artistry, and it's 2025, and I guess you're supposed to do a pedalboard video every year. This is what I'm told by the YouTube people, by Nick.
Jason, we're cool people.
Yeah. Well,
we do cool things.
Yeah, and apparently replacing half your pedalboard is like a cool thing. So this is actually really different than it's been in the past. Normally, I'll make little changes here and there, but so much has changed on my board since our last video. So I blame Nick. That's Nick's fault.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I'm great. I am grateful.
It looks cooler and it sounds cooler.
It is cool, and I want to play it more. Which that's kind of the whole point. So real quick, let's just talk. I'm actually using Nick's Telecaster. It's got Lambertone Blondies in it. Sounds like this when it's going through the Rev D20. And then I'm just going to talk through the signal chain. First, I want to talk about this board, though. This beautiful board is at a Creation Elevation 24. And I love it. It's like, I don't know, man. It feels very solidly built. There's plenty of room on it. It seems like all the spacing is all in the right place. And you can also get a really cool bag, which I was very excited to put it in the bag to bring it here. That was kind of the highlight of my day so far. It's really beautiful. So we're using that, and then for a power supply, I actually upgraded my power supply. You might have laughed at me on the last video because I was using this like really old Hotone. It had been through a flood and was still ticking. Turns out though, it's a lot noisier than it needed to be. So I thought as I was kind of rebuilding this board, John Snyder over at Creation actually recommended CIOKS. Which I had never heard of before and would have never pronounced it this way. But I love it. The reason why I love it is because every single plug has all the power options. So I've got 9 volt, 12 volt, 15 volt, 18 volt, and I can just make that choice. So I'm never stuck between, I can only use this one for this particular pedal. And it just kind of gave me all the options. I even have a few slots left over for if I want to grow the board. So it's very cool. I love it. And it sounds great. And I had no idea how nice it would be to have nice, new, clean power. Makes a huge difference. So first pedal in the chain, I was very excited to add the Kaisertronics Stuka Fuzz. This thing is beautiful. It's custom built by Kaisertronics down at Edmonds, Washington. And I was really stoked because they only had 2 colors at the time, which were green and orange. And he actually was like, hey, if you need a different color, I can do that, because he's cool like that. And this thing I love it. It sounds amazing. I love how big it can get. You roll off the volume and you actually hear a real difference. It cleans up really nicely. I love that I can go kind of wild with the bias. Get that Velcro fuzz. Nice big open fuzz. And honestly, I love that it's a small pedal maker. The cool thing was, if I had any questions, very easy to get a hold of Blake. And this is number 10. How cool is that? So anyway, that's a Fuzz. You're probably not going to see that in a lot of Worship Artistry videos because that's not really why I got it, but I really wanted it, and it sounds great. Next up in the chain, I've got my Keeley Compressor Plus. I love this thing just because it's a very simple compressor. I love the blend knob. Ultimately, I pretty much have that thing on all the time unless I'm using the Fuzz because I really want to open that thing up and have it get wild. Next up, it's a weird name. I got the Hotone, which I do know that's how you pronounce it. It's not Hot One, I asked. It is Hotone. And this is the Wong press. It's Corey Wong's signature wah pedal and volume and expression. And I love it. I love the footprint of it. It's nice and, it's not too small. It's not too big. I like that it shows me the green if I want. For volume. Let's bring wah back. Who's using that anymore? I am. More now that I've got it. It can also double as an expression pedal, although I will say that it won't stop being the other thing. So it's you kind of have to use it for one or the other. You can't really use them all at the same time. So it's not a like one-stop shop for pedals, but say you had two of them, you could kind of get everything that you needed from them. I love this thing. Sounds great. Okay, up next, this is my favorite thing on this board. This is the Copper Sound Triplegraph. And a lot of people in the videos have already been asking me about this, Nick. They've been like, what is that thing?
Tell them.
Well, essentially it's an octave pedal, but it's kind of the coolest octave pedal that has ever existed. Copper Sound got in touch with Jack White and we're like, hey, we made this cool little telegraph kill switch that does this. And Jack White, being Jack White, was like, that's cool. Can you make it do a million other things? And so they took 3 years and made this pedal. Ultimately, it's just a really cool octave pedal. Things I love about it. I do love that kill switch. I love that the kill switch can double as an effects loop, and that's why I actually have my dispatch master up here. This is on all the time, but I'm not really using it. I can just use this to bring in that effect very quickly. So it's great for like, especially in worship songs, you got ambient parts and you're just like, well, I need this really big reverb, but I still need my normal reverb over here. And so being able to just hold that down, play some cool ambient stuff, and then jump out of it and have everything go right back to normal is really great. But you can put anything in there. You could put tremolos, you could put any effect in there that you want. It also has a low octave. High octave. And then of course you can do both. One of my favorite things about it though is that it actually, you can have it lock, which is how I have it set now, because it's, you know, I'm sitting here, it's hard to use my feet on this. All kind of stuff that you can do with it, and it's super fun. One thing that I love to do with it is use the kill switch for it, and I'll have to do this by using the lock, but normally I would just stomp on it, but getting rid of the dry signal. It's really hard to do using your hand. Here, I'll do it this way. Can you use that? I don't know if that'll work.
We're using it now.
We're having a good time. So anyway, that is the Triplegraph, and it's funny because I didn't think of this as something I would use a lot. You know, it felt like a splurge because I was like, I love this pedal. I need it. I've never had so much pedal lust. I actually had to repent when I saw the video of it. It was so good. And I've literally used it on almost every lesson video since because it is just very versatile. Okay, I could talk about the Triplegraph forever. Let's go on to the next one. I'm running into my Timmy and then into my Hotcake for my drives. Now, here's the thing. On the last video, I actually had the Hotcake going first and into the Timmy. And I really like that sound. But I just kind of started playing around with it and I was like, adding the fuzz, kind of where everything sits. I actually kind of use it a little differently. So I got the Timmy. I love that for a nice transparent drive. It's great for, you know, when you're going kind of clean and then you just need that little lift. Hotcake, it's kind of like another color of that. Just like a little more, and then of course you put them together. They work really well together. I like them. At this point, I send it out the patch bay, and then I go into the effects loop and we do some different stuff. Okay, that is the end of the chain that's in front of my amp. And then I run an effects loop. And I've been talking to Nick, maybe I might not end up doing that now that I'm using it more as a pedal platform, but we'll talk about that another time. For now, it is set as an effects loop. So what comes next? I'm actually running my chorus. I think my favorite part about it is that it does have a level. So it can be subtle. It's great for when I'm feeling a little 80s. It's great. Up next, one of my other favorite pedals. I got the Capistan D-Tape Echo. I love this thing. I just love everything about that pedal. Even the controls feel more like a tape machine. Like they explain it and you're like, well, if you want dual heads, and you're like, okay, well, what does that really mean? There's a lot of different settings. You can actually you can just make it like tape crinkly. You can make it sound all kinds of weird. I keep it pretty straightforward. And a lot of times I'll use that wow and flutter as kind of a chorus. So instead of using this, I'll just have that. It'll give a real nice depth to it. Now I do have 2 delays because apparently that's something you need nowadays. But this Eternity is like having like 10 delays. This is Jet Pedals Eternity. And the main way that I use it is I use the dual delay. So I like having the option to just have that galloping delay going without having to dial it all in with everything else. I just can tap tempo that and I get exactly what I want out of that. But there's all kinds of stuff. There's analog, there's tape, it combines great with the Capistan. I'm a fan. I honestly still haven't even memorized what all the things are, but it's easy enough to figure out, especially with the note timing, and it's pretty straightforward. It's just a matter of like, oh, what color is what? And I'm just like, remember red. That's the double one. So a lot of cool things you can do that. It does have MIDI for you MIDI guys. I'm not a MIDI guy, but for you guys, good for you. Up next, Revelation Reverb. This I love. I think my favorite part about it is that it has pre-delay. So a lot of times I feel like reverbs, you get kind of lost in the sound. It can get very swampy very quickly. And having the ability to have different pre-delays there is really nice. You just kind of hear the difference. I usually keep it about 50 there to just kind of make the notes be clear enough, and then you can change the filter and do all kinds of stuff with control. This also has MIDI. It has a number of different reverbs. Like I said, I like this one. There's also there's a shimmer reverb. There's one that has almost like a low shimmer, like it's a low octave, which is really cool, especially when you're playing by yourself. It's called anti-shimmer. Yeah, and it's because it hates shimmer. That's why it's anti-shimmer. I'm anti-shimmer. Shimmer's dumb. I said it there. It's so aggressive. Anti-shimmer. Okay. All right, Junior. He's got some feelings about it. It's all right. All kinds of things you can do with that. You play around with it, have a good time. And then finally, I think the pedal that is, besides the Triplegraph, I think the thing that has given me some of the most joy this year was actually adding this TC Electronic Ditto Plus. It's essentially just a little loop station. It's not very complicated. There's one button. I do like that you can pre-save a lot of different things, but a lot of times at the end of the day, when I've taught a bunch of lessons and I'm tired and I'm just like, I just need something different, I've just been using this thing to to just come up with little like sleepy guitar loops. They're little relaxing things for me. They're almost meditative. Sometimes it helps me come up with some different ideas for parts and I can play around. It's very easy to control and you get stuff like this. Now, the reason why I was able to do that is because you have a bunch, like, I don't know what to call it exactly. It's like 100 save banks, right? You can kind of save your songs. So you can kind of go back through stuff that you've created and go, oh, that was really cool. Or that wasn't that cool. Because that happens sometimes too, where you go and you're like, that was the greatest thing I've ever played. And then you listen to it the next morning and you're like, that is definitely not the greatest thing I've ever played. Let's just go ahead and delete that. Right, Nick?
Yeah, 100%.
So the Ditto Plus is amazing. I love it. I play with this thing all the time, and it's pretty inexpensive as well. It's a easy way to get into looping, and that is my 2025 board. Like I said, a lot of different things on it. I'm still using a lot of the same things in terms of the tones that we're using in our worship artistry lessons, but I can get any sound that I want, and then when I feel like just ripping some Smashing Pumpkins, can throw that Stuka on, or if I want to go full Jack White, I can just go Triplegraph and really let my family know that I'm done recording worship videos because they hear it go through all the heating vents because of where the amp sits. So anyway, and that is my 2025 board. I don't anticipate a lot of changes, but I didn't anticipate a lot of changes last year, so who knows? If there are any of these pedals that you're like, hey, I'd love to see more about that. Let's see a demo. Let's go way more in depth on it. We can totally do that. I'd love to do that for you. Just let me know in the comments, and we'll make that video for you. If you think I'm an idiot for purchasing some pedals that are non-worship pedals, go ahead and tell me that in the comments too, because, hey, we like to have conversation. I'll tell you you're wrong, but we can talk about it. All right, don't forget to like and subscribe, ring the bell, do all that stuff, and we'll see you on the next one. We got 1, 2, 3, 4. Stop there.